People use this term, the deep state. What is it? The 4+ million federal bureaucrats who are actually writing the regulations that act like laws that bind the behaviors of businesses and people across this country who were never elected to do it in the first place. What's going on there? That's unconstitutional. That's why it's unrecognizable. We don't need an Article 5 convention to change the Constitution to address that real threat to liberty. What we really need to do is just apply the Constitution we already have. The first thing we need is term limits.
And so, yeah, that's a great point. But if we do term limits, that's an amendment to the Constitution, correct?
I think that is an amendment to the Constitution, which was a high hurdle. Definitely an amendment to the Constitution was a high hurdle to pass. But here's my way of at least getting the wheels greased, using the corruption against the corrupt system itself. So then I'm not going to be the next president, but if I were the next president, here's what I would do. The deal I would put up to Congress is, all right, here's term limits, 3 terms for Congress, 2 terms for the U.S. Senate. Most of them don't want to do it, not because it's a bad idea for the country, but because it's a bad idea for them individually. Mm-hmm. And so I don't love this deal, but here's how we would get it through at overwhelming majority levels, because there's bipartisan support for this. People across the country, Democrat and Republican, want term limits in Congress. Why isn't it happening? The people who have to vote on it, because it requires a constitutional amendment, requires passage in both houses and ratification by the states. The people who are going to vote for it, it's against their self-interest. So the deal I would make is this. We're going to have term limits, but if you pass it, it doesn't apply to you. The people who vote for it, that Congress, is grandfathered in. And any time one of those seats is replaced by somebody else who's voted in to take it, then it applies to them going forward. So they're binding the future without binding themselves. Now this is a wildly popular bipartisan policy. I think it would pass in an instant, even as a constitutional amendment. There's certain types of term limits that don't require a constitutional amendment. So you have the term limits that I favor for bureaucrats, right? If the US president can't work for the people of this country,